Hello, welcome back to Matt's Rocks 2. I'm going to do an unboxing slash cutting video, at least I hope. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to. I don't know why I was digging in my pocket for my pocket knife. I just bought some Swazi agates off of Agate Bay, and I did a video today. It's going to be out Sunday. That where I cut two Brazilian agates and a 4 or 5 Missouri lace agates. And I mentioned on that video that I was hoping that my agates would be in, but I just ordered them Sunday, I think. I'm way down on that. Nowhere near where I thought I was going to be. But it come open. But yeah, oh wow. 4 rocks. Cool. This is going to be better than I hoped. I was hoping when I ordered the Alamajo agates, I was hoping they would be not quite this big, but I was hoping they'd be at least that big. But a lot of them were only like that big, and some of them were only like that tall, and maybe that big around. And I started the other camera just in case there was something on here that I could zoom in on. Look, this is good. This means these are going to be better quality agates. These are from Africa. And it's only got the one window on it. Let me just go ahead and wet the whole thing down just in case there's something hiding on me there. Oh, it's got a few little chips out of it and fill lines, or fill holes from what it looks like. This is a chip. And then that looks like that might be a fill or something petroleum, or that maybe more water was coming in and that's where it evaporated from last. And there's another little, looks like a chip there. A couple of chips. And then there's some chips here. And then there's the one, but it doesn't show me. It looks like it might have lines going this way. It looks like it's got 2 fractures in it too. Oh, several. Some of those might just be in that outer skin though too, or were continuations of the host rock fracture. But that one goes right across through the middle, right there. This one goes up this way, then there's another one that comes up through here and stops right there. And it looks like there's one here that goes across through there. Oh, and this one comes up through here and around and up to there. Oh, and then comes on across, it looks like. That one that goes across through here. This is going to be fun to cut. I'll have to ponder on that before I go ahead and cut it. I may get my flashlight out and see if I can't see down in there, clean it up a little better. brush it off. There's the first one. I don't think I'm going to use this other camera, so I'm going to go ahead and shut it off because there's not really a whole lot in there that... There we go. I knew I had a towel around here summers. Let's look at the second one. Well, good deal. That's kind of what I was hoping for, because I think I'm getting my vibratory lap figured out. I found some videos on it the other day. I haven't really watched any of them yet, but I did see in one of them that they used 4 or 6 inch PVC pipe, toilet pipe, to put around the rocks. This has got a flat surface on it, so that it sits around the rock like this to keep 2 rocks from bumping into each other. And it's just about an inch and a half tall, and you just set it down on there and set your rock down in the middle of it, and it looks, with it being that harder PVC plastic rather than a rubber like the hoses I was using, it's not going to, when the rock gets up against it, the rubber kind of stops the rock from spinning on the rubber hoses that I had. And plus 2, I had to put buckshot in them to weight them down so that they wouldn't, when the 2 pieces of rubber, one from one rock and one from another rock, when they came in together in the middle, one would push up the other one, and then it'd go in, and then it'd stop both of the rocks from turning, and they're supposed to turn. So that'll help with that, and that'll make it easier to get my weights on there too, because I can suspend the weight. I can tape well, no, I can't either. I was thinking I could tape the weights to that ring on the outside. Ooh, I was going to use that. I was going to use this other camera to try to spray water on this rock. You didn't see that, did you? Oh boy. This one's got red. A bunch of red. And I'm definitely going to have to clean out my tray when I get done doing this before I do any lapidary on it, because those are dirty. But look at that. Zoom that in a little. Whoop. When did that happen? I've not been using that one for zoom lately. There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna have to dig the flashlight out on this one. Well, let's just shine it on there from here. There's also fortification lines up in this darker area too. They're kind of a light gray. You can just barely see them. But it looks like the red kind of spreads out down in here. So this one here is going to be I'll just cut it across. Well, I need to take that zoom off again now, huh? I'm just going to cut this one across this way. I'll go ahead and I'm probably, yeah, it's only almost 7 o'clock. I can edit that other tape or that other video and go ahead and cut these tomorrow for Wednesday. Good deal. I'm happier with this batch. Now, I wasn't disappointed in that last batch. There are the Alamajo agates. I just had, with my luck being the way it is, I just had more duds than I had, well, not quite more, but it seemed like I had more duds. I had about a 50-50 on duds and good agates that I could polish, or that I could sell, and whenever I do start selling stuff. I still haven't done any of that, or any research into that. I know I'm going to have to report the income, but I don't know as to whether I have to have a. Uh, there's a window there. It's got some red on it. Put my glasses up where I can see. You can see red right in there. So this one's got some red in it, and that looks like botryoidal stuff there. This looks like the other section of the other part of a of a quartz inclusion in it, but as you can see that round spot there, it's just a small pocket of quartz. And so I think I'll probably be better off going ahead and cutting through this fractured off section, because that's a broken section, so that's not going to make any difference. That's not a, I don't see any fortification lines in that, but with this one, this almost looks like a fortification line above that quartz pocket. That may be just a clear chalcedony too. The flashlight down there running dead in my pocket, or in my lap. That is chalcedony. That's not quartz. So that may have been there already inside the pocket that just formed in. No. I gotta quit doing that. That right above the. This is gonna be a bad video, I can tell. Right above this where this pocket stops here, there's a lighter line that's weathered, but that looks like some kind of inclusion up inside of there. It almost. Can't tell what it is. It may be part of the host rock, and it may be just going around the top of this inclusion of chalcedony here, because this may have already been there, and that stuff there looks almost like the skin here. This in here, so that may be just a skin that had formed over top of this pocket, over this botryoidal section that was sticking on the bottom. Basically, a stalagmite. And then the agate formed from up here, I would think. It's hard to say. See a little bit of red through that too. I hadn't seen that yet. So this is going to be a pretty good. Only thing is, I'm not going to get a very thick face cutting it this way, but without being able to see, I'd hate for there just to be one single fortification line going across the center of this, which would be about my luck. And that's a broken off piece too, but that's right at the edge of the nodule. It is a nodule. Definitely going to be hard to push through that saw that way, so I think I'll just have to cut this one this way. I keep forgetting about you guys. I'm mesmerized by these rocks. I'm not actually forgetting about you, but I'm still talking to you, but I'm also talking to me. Ooh, this one must be special. It's in a Ziploc. Well, I did have, this one's not a Ziploc, but it was in plastic. Oh, it's in German, evidently, or something. GRO with two dots above it. BE XL. 3 kilograms Mozambique. Okay, I mean what this one's got right in it too. These were only dirty because they were dry, so dry in that paper. And all the shaking around got the sand and dust loose, dirt loose. And you can tell they've been cleaned once before, but just probably put it right back in a big old bin. Because they're rough rocks. What did I dry that off for? Well, it doesn't matter actually. That's really the only place it needs to be wet. And just, I wanted to get all the dust out of it. There's the red. And that's not, oh, and there's a, it's like a floater pocket right there. Right up there. Because it's got a kind of a rectangular with points on the ends and the corners, where the corners would be for a box, and then points in between the two ends of the box, or the two sides of the end of the box. But it's kind of neat. It's got a bunch of chips around here. Well, it's got another pocket down in here. This part, this red kind of looks like it just, that's an island of red. You can't see it going any further back in there. But that may be just because of the agate. But that's got fortification lines in it too. I think with those being on those angles, oh, that's plant matter. Roots. Busted it. They've been dry for a while. Now I'm gonna have to not use this rag when I do my next calves. Yeah, I think I will cut that lengthwise down through here. That way I'll get some of this pattern. I hope. As long as I can keep a hold of it. That's what's going to be hard about it, is it's going to be hard to keep a hold of. Although that will, maybe not. That just might clamp in to my oil saw. I'll keep that in mind. Sorry. I may have to redo this. although the unboxing part would have to be left out because I already did that. No, it'd be a pain. It'd be a little bit arrogant to put it all back in the packaging too. I can see why they put two of them in plastic though. They put one on either side, and that'll keep all four of them from, because this paper would probably wear through quicker than the plastic would. But they're not going to get a whole lot of wear in that box right now for the meantime. I'll be back when I get them cut open, or well, I'll be back. I'll go ahead and cut them open and then start the video, or start the next segment of the video. Let's put it that way. And then these are going to go on the flat lap fairly quick. Although I do have two over there. I got two over there already. So I don't want to be able to do them two at a time, I think. I may be able to do 3 halves at a time. So 2 and then a single half of one of the other ones, but it'd be easier just to do. No, I'd still, yeah, I still got a feeling that's going to take more than that. That may take three batches. Let's put it that way. But anyway, I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. We got these all cut. I'm going to start with the smallest one, just because I like the looks of it. Still didn't get all the oil off. There's the first side. First half. These are the Swazi agates. Of course, I told you that at the beginning of the video, but I cut them yesterday. I had to soak them in the Dawn dish soap and stuff to get them all cleared out. This one kind of looks like a minnow. Just from there to there. And then if you'd made it longer, it'd almost look like one of those fish with an eye on the tail to use for camouflage. Kind of nice looking. It's got a lot of fractures on it. I was having trouble with my saw. My water saw took a crap on me. It is no longer working. I don't know what I'll get I need a towel to wash my fingers, to dry my fingers off. That way, in case I do have to touch the camera, my fingers ain't wet. Here's the second one. And just like with the other one, I had some problems with there's the second one. Got some nice fortification lines in it. Not too bad of cuts on some of them, but then there's one that's got fractures all over it. I don't think those are surface fractures from the cutting either. They might be, because it took forever to cut this thing. Cut all of these. I put on a blade that I thought was a newer blade, but I think it was an older blade. I took off the real thin. That's the second half of that other. As you can tell, it doesn't look like a minnow in the middle anymore. And one of them did. Never mind. That was the other one. That was the first one. I like these. These are good looking agates. And then here's the third one. And I really like this one too, because it's got a bunch of whitish clear agate around the outside edges. It kind of puts a little contrast in it. They're really dark. Hard to see the lines, but that's because they're dark. and because they're not polished yet. So they're a little rough on the face. There's the other half of that one. And there was only 4 of these. Of course, you probably remember that from the beginning of the video. I'm still trying to catch up. I've been busy this morning. I had to cut some sewage pipe for my to put on my vibratory lap. I was using rubber hose to make rings around them to keep them from bumping each other as they're working around, because they're supposed to spin. And the rubber was, whenever it would touch the rubber, it would stop the rock from spinning for a while until it finally moved enough around the table, around the pan, bumping off of the two, bumping off of the things that were on there that I didn't show you this. This one here is the one I've cut. That's what I didn't show you, was what they looked like before. This is the one that had all of these weird inclusions along this side, and it had windows here, and it's got windows everywhere, but they're just not, they're all a lighter color or a blue. And if you look in the end, there was a little bit of red on this side, and it looks like the pattern is facing out this way. Because you can see that it's like kind of like this pattern. You can see the lines radiating out from the side of it. Well, this one here is the same way. It seemed like the lines, there's a pocket in here that the lines come around. They're not round or circular, but they come around this way. So there's lines coming around this red pocket on the outsides, spreading out from the outside of that pocket. And so I thought, well, and it's at an angle like this compared to the rest of the rock. So that's why I decided to cut it across this way. And that may have been a mistake. Let me wet this down again, but as long as it polishes up, these green inclusions, that looks like agate. It's smooth and it's hard. So it may be green agate, green and white agate, with red on the outsides of the pockets, because these green pockets have red lines on the outside and then a white line outside of that. But you can see down into this one, it's still a good looking agate. I still like this. And when it gets polished, you may be able to see down in it a little better. I still never did change the battery in my flashlight. But putting the extra light to it isn't helping me see down in it any right now. But you can tell that there's some depth to this. This agate's a lot clearer, because you can see the top part of this. That's all underneath. This is the surface right here where the line's at. And then this goes back in at an angle kind of like that. And same over here. This comes out this way at an angle that kind of goes in, back in like this. Yeah, back in like this. Down in this way. It's still a good looking, I like these. I'm glad these were bigger too. The last ones I got said that they were Alamajo XL agates, which meant extra large. And I saw him cutting, and he cut a batch of them on the video that when I saw and I ordered them, and those ones I've ordered from Germany, his German website. And all of mine were a lot smaller than the ones he got, and all the ones that he cut of the Alamajo agates on this last video at the end of the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show, his finale. That's the last one. And I can't really see any lines on these. Well, I can in this one here, because it's got like a white line in the center of it. This one does too. It's got some that kind of swoop up and then down, kind of like triangles here, kind of like chevrons. But other than that, I can't really see a whole lot of lines. There are some more lines over here. But they're not going all the way across and all the way back. But then I've got that fairly deep fracture. That's another reason why I cut it that way, because it had so many fractures going all over it. And you with agates nodules, you can't really tell. You can see them all on the back of that. You can't really tell which way they actually go, whether they go all the way into the agate or whether they're just on the outer skin of the agate, the outer layer. But anyway, that's all of those. I'm glad that it cost me $270 for those 4 rocks. So they're not going to be cheap when I do finally sell them, which I got to figure out what I got to do on that. And I'm trying to figure out a way to do it where I don't have to sit in a chair and behind a couple of tables just covered with stuff and try to keep people from stealing from me while I'm trying to sell it. Because it'd be me by myself. I wouldn't have anybody to keep a watch on the other table, because I probably only got enough stuff for 2 tables. Maybe just 1, but probably more than likely 2, because I've got enough samples, stuff that's big enough to put by itself. And I thought there was more of those. Oh, there's 4. Never mind. I was looking at those. Okay, squirrel. Some of the lace agate that I cut in the last video, I set some here, the ones that I was going to make cabs out of, and I set them down over here. They're in 2 stacks, and I thought one stack, I thought I had 4 or 5, and I've got 4 sitting there. The 5th one went in the tumbler because it was only that thick, about 1/8 of an inch thick. So it wasn't worth trying to make a cab out of. It was too skinny, and it was only that thick, like in the center. It was probably that big, and it only the very center of it, the outside edges were almost like a knife. They were real sharp. But the tumbler will take that all off there. But anyway, that's it for this one. I'd like to have had them polished up for you, or at least polished up one of them. But it's going to take a while to run these on my Vibrolap, because the first one took 3 weeks, but only because I was still fresh learning how. And I had some, the agates that I had on there were in pretty bad shape as far as ledges wise. This one's got a few ledges on it, but they're not all that big. This won't take as long to cut down as, say, ones like this one over here. This was from the last batch. This one I'll do the Swazi agates before I do these Brazilian agates, just because this is going to take longer with these. And I didn't actually put anything on the other one either, but you can see how rough that cut was compared to this cut. This cut was pretty nice. But this was on a thin, I put a thin, real thin blade on there for cutting out cabs. After I draw the stencil on for cutting out making them the shape the stencil's supposed to be. And that's why it was so hard to cut. But I also found out my saw, and that's just something else I didn't do, was show them hole. This isn't the right one, though. That's the Brazilian agate. I did show this. I did show this one. Then this is the other one. And I cut it in half down the middle. And this one here, I was going to cut it lengthwise like this. But when I got to looking at this, that looks like I think I mentioned it on the first one, that looks like a fortification line that's been weathered on that break right there. And I figured that if that run all the way through, then I would be getting the top of that, and it would just be one layer of one line. Uh, so that it'd be kind of like when you could look back into the other ones, uh, and the one that had depth on it, and I was talking about this one here. It'd be like all the lines were laying straight even with the window, where these come underneath. You can tell those go down into the rock where the other ones would be laying on the top and might polish off even. Here's the other one. That's the third one that I cut, and it had that window on it. Had a window on both ends, but this back window wasn't all that fancy. But you don't want to cut through the windows. And all of these windows around the outside edge, those are basically from it breaking up. There's not a whole lot you can do about that. And I wasn't going to try to miss all of those, because there was no way I could have missed this side except for starting here at this corner and going out at an angle this way. So I wasn't going to do that either. I always try to get the better or the biggest face. And then there's the first one that I showed you, and it had this on the top. This is actually agate. I didn't think that was agate because I hadn't washed them up until right before I cut them. But if you look at it, you can see that it lets light in. So that's agate. What's bad is they don't allow much light through yet, but once I get them polished, I'll be able to see a little bit more. But I don't think we're going to get a whole lot through some of these, especially these red ones. I don't think the light's going to go through any of that at all. Now let me show them on show the faces of these on the other camera. That way it's zoomed in. Let's see, let's get the biggest one here. Okay, that ought to be good. I'll just show these in whatever order I pick them up, but this way you'll be able to get a little better view of the lines and stuff. And you can see what I was talking about with the red and white lines around the green. And there is I can't feel any or see cracks, so those not fractures. Those aren't fractures. That's probably agate was busted up before the rest of it filled. So they probably started on the bottom and then got broke up before it started filling with water. With more water, I should say, not with water, with more water. There's the next one. I don't know why I showed that on the other camera. I'm an idiot. Because that means I'm going to have to stop this one when I edit it. I'm going to have to cut it out of this one. Stop the one that's zoomed in to replace the video from there with the other one. But I may just leave it. I'll just leave that part out because you could probably tell what I was talking about from the other one. There's that one. These are scratches, I do believe, where this is a fracture. And this is a fracture. But I think this one's healed. Actually, that other one looks healed too, but I can't really tell with the kerf marks on it. Maybe not. This other one may not be either. But it kind of looks like a chip. There I was going and getting ready to do that again. Here's the other side of it, and it's got fracture goes all the way across. And it's not actually the same fracture. Because if you look, this one comes in from the side, where this one comes in kind of lower down from the side. It comes across straight across this way. Now, it doesn't come all the way through up into this section of it. So it goes around that section of it, which meant that section was formed when it fractured, was already formed before it fractured, or formed after it fractured. One of the two, I don't know. Not sure exactly how that works. But I like this. This one's got the most lines on it, most fortification lines. I don't remember how many that was. I think that was the third one. So let's do this fourth one. I guess they do still both look like fish, like minnows, except this one, the eye is white instead of black. It's still got the eye on what would be a tail on a bigger fish. So if you consider the outside part of it, or the red part being the body, then that would be the tail. But I don't think I've seen too many fish with an outline of a fish on the bottom or on the side. A smaller outline of a fish, smaller than their outline. And then there's the last half of it. And it's the one I got. This is the actually this one shouldn't have any oil on it, because this one was done on the wet saw. This was the first one I cut, and it was done on the water saw. And I did half of this. Or no, I think I did this one on the water saw, and it took forever to cut. And then when I started this one, I had to stop partway through and go over and do it on the oil saw. And then I had to do, no, this is the one I cut on the wet saw. That was taking too long. I cut these two. I cut this one halfway through with the wet saw, and then I had to finish it with the oil saw, and then do this one with the oil saw. But I didn't put either one of these in the vise. Actually, this one I put in the vise, but that bigger one there was no way I could fit it in the vise. It was too wide, too wide on this end. Maybe I did put that one in the vise. I don't know. I know I put one of them in the vise, maybe two of them in the vise, because this one here definitely got put in the vise, I think, because I had to cut it sideways, and I didn't want to try to cut it sideways with the wet saw. I knew it was going to be gouged and stuff like the other one, like the one I just showed you, the Brazilian agate. But anyway, that's the video. Thanks for watching. And I'm going to remind you again that this is Matt's Rocks 2. It used to be Matt's Rocks, but I got locked out of the channel. So if you were watching the other one and you didn't get to see all the videos you wanted to see, you can still get to it. But I'm trying to get all my subscribers to switch over to this one, because it's not gonna help me to start over on subscribers. I'm trying to get up some money to go out west and find my own rocks, so I don't have to pay $270 for 4 rocks. And I won't get any of this quality, more than likely, but I might get some this size, and I might get some this size that I can cut into all slabs and get some decent cabs out of them too. So, but that's what I'm wanting to do, and that's what I've been trying to do for 4 years now. I got to go out once, but that was a nightmare because I had to rent a truck to pull the trailer that I bought. And they told me mine would haul it, but it wouldn't, or it would, but it wouldn't have been good. I'd have probably used a whole lot more gas, and I may have ended up having to rent another truck anyway to pull the camper because it was going to be overloaded. It was going to be too much for that half ton to pull with all the stuff that I was taking with. And it would have even got worse on the way back with all the rocks loaded in too in the truck. So I had to ended up buying another truck, and like a dummy, I bought a $50,000 truck, used $50,000 truck, but it's a 22. It was only 3 years old when I bought it, 2.5, 3, somewhere around in there. And I can't remember if it was last year or the year before. I've slept since then, at least once. But anyway, thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll keep this going. Hopefully I won't get kicked out of this one. I've got it stuck in the computer, and I saved the password for it so that maybe that'll help me the next time, because they'll probably believe my computer more than they'll believe me. Because when I set it up, I don't think I set it up with Google. I think I just set it up with my, evidently, I thought I had put in my Hotmail mailbox because I can't stand a Google Mail. And I think that they just automatically put it on my Google Mail. And so that's why my password don't work. And they think they did that to me twice, because that's the second time I've been locked out of it. The first time I ended up going through, and when I went to YouTube site, I think a different YouTube site, and just went to the channel, I think I figured out it was on my tablet, I think. I don't remember. It's been a year since then, or almost a year. And it gave me the user ID code or serial, a bunch of letters and numbers, dashes and dots, and then the user ID. Your user ID, and I don't remember what the other one was, site ID or something like that, but there was 2 different keys, and that's how I ended up getting it. And then I wrote those down, but it said those aren't working anymore. So I don't know what the deal is with that. Maybe that was just something I got sent accidentally. I don't think so, because I don't think I heard it from anybody. I think I did it all on my own, getting it figured out. But anyway, I'm gonna quit yakking now. I thought that last video was going to be shorter, but it turned out to be 47 minutes long. But I cut a few more rocks than I did on this video. So you guys take care and stay tuned for the next one. This one will be out Wednesday, and I'll see you then.